Welcome to the Whiskey Vault.
I'm Rex.
I'm Daniel.
This is Whiskey.
This is from Michael Pantalone.
In a vault.
Magnificent bastard.
Michael Pantalone, you magnificent bastard.
So this is Old Weller. Now we've done Antique 107.
Sure.
We've done the Special Reserve.
Sure.
Weller's famous.
Classic Weller.
Some people use Weller to try to fake the Pappy recipes.
Yeah.
This one, I almost want to say, this was when they were trying to be the Whiskey Tribe.
Okay.
They created a craft your perfect bourbon.
Oh, all right.
And they created a website and they made all these choices and they let people vote on mash bill, the make of the whiskey,
Sure.
a barrel style,
Yeah.
warehousing, how old, and the proof.
Well, we copyrighted, patented, and trademarked that process, so they owe us money.
Millions!
And
Yes,
that's right.
we patented the process of
Voting.
people voting on things.
The democratic system in general.
Yeah.
Mine! That's mine!
It's a circle R.
All right.
So they ended after it took 2 years. They did.
Yeah.
100,000 people completed the preference.
Yeah.
And what they ended up with was this.
It was a classic bourbon on the nose. I'm getting
It was 8 years old. A weeded bourbon, of course.
Is it around 50%?
It's a weeded bourbon.
Yeah.
It is 47.5.
Around 50, yeah. And honey and cherry on the nose. These are going to be classic bourbon flavors that people voted on.
Well, but there's something else in there because it is a weeded bourbon, so it's a little softer.
I'm not
feeling for me.
Maybe on the taste, on the nose, it may be because I'm a few days off of whiskey.
Yeah, and I've been drinking earlier today already, so
Okay.
I'm not a ton.
No,
I just had one
I'm
whiskey.
coming at it pretty dang fresh.
It's definitely bright and shiny on the nose. Sparkly.
So, sweet cherry and honey, but it's got this dry oak note right in the middle.
Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah.
really well balanced. So that's a bit risky for people that'll choose things because you really want someone who's at the barrel tasting it to go, this proof is better than this proof, as opposed to just someone out there going, this proof is the right one, and you're like, well, that wasn't the best, but they voted.
Right.
That's the hard part of creating voting. I
So,
don't mind this. It's not
it's-
remarkable,
So,
but it's damn good.
they executed a classic bourbon. Honestly, if you hadn't told me this was weeded, but weeded meaning is predominantly a wheat grain.
Right.
Yeah, okay. More than 51%. I wouldn't have guessed that. I usually get from weeded bourbons, it's a little bit more softer and the sweetness is a little bit more generic. This, though.
None of this has got character.
Yeah, it's got character.
I think it's the 8 years. It let the wood take enough of an impact.
Character, and then you got the traditional bourbon notes.
It's not overly complex.
Well,
It's mostly honey, vanilla, wood, and a hint of cherry.
yeah.
But it does it in this very predictable, round...
The thing that's most notable about this whiskey is that dry, oaky element.
Now that I'm coming back to it, though, I'm getting more of the corn is taking...
You think?
Yeah, coming back to it. Corn steps up to the top.
I keep finding, like, a fairly unsweetened maraschino cherry, just the taste of maraschino without, like, the really heavy sugary stuff.
I'm getting a little more caramel.
On that dry oak element, right
As
in the
this breathes, I'm going to let this breathe. I'm going to get another glass for the other whiskey that we're going to try.
Okay, Joris Van Dijik? Yes. Question for the Psalm. Why does higher proof whiskey typically have a more robust, deep flavors than lower proof whiskey? You would think that more alcohol means less whiskey and therefore less stuff with flavor, though the alcohol itself carries the flavor.
Yes. So here's the funny thing. This is not an uncommon question, and it's just based on a misunderstanding. But as soon as I explain it, your thought will be, oh, of course.
All right.
Of course, it's obvious.
Sure, yeah.
Because it is obvious, but not until you understand the process.
Okay.
Imagine if something is 40% alcohol. What's the other 60%? Water.
Yeah.
Right? So the lower proof,
Yeah.
the more water.
Yeah.
And the more water, the less flavor.
Yeah, I think people
Right?
hear alcohol, they don't realize it's carrying a lot of...
Yes, all the flavors.
Yeah, the oils and the phenols.
All the flavor of whiskey is in the percentage of alcohol that is in the bottle.
Now the barrel, though, the barrel is going to be affecting the water too. So the water is going to carry some of that.
Yes, it's like trying to separate out a finished food product. Of course, everything affects everything.
But before it starts to get aged in a barrel, then all of the flavors are being carried by the alcohol, and then it's just getting proofed down by straight water.
And it is the alcohol that creates the flavor interactions with the whiskey
Right.
in the barrel.
Yeah.
Right. So That's why. So the higher proof, yes, you're having to deal with the burn, and yes, that can be a problem, but that's also where all the flavor lies.
Yeah.
So this is from Russ Woodman, Magnificent Bastard.
Russ Woodman, you magnificent bastard.
This is Missouri Spirits Bourbon Whiskey.
Okay.
Just straight up bourbon whiskey.
40%.
You.
Now, it's got more character on the nose. It's a little bit more like a peanut brittle thing on the nose.
I was going to say the same thing. I really like the nose, and I was going to say peanut brittle, but I was going to say peanut brittle with the taste of when you're peeling peanuts at like the Roadhouse Cafe and throwing shells on the floor.
Yeah, yeah.
And you get the dusty like shell side of the peanut.
Yeah, yeah.
So not just sugar.
Right.
But the dusty shell of peanut and peanut brittle.
So I don't know how common this is, but we have a few places around Texas where they just give you a bucket of peanuts and you shell them, and then you just throw the peanut shells on the floor. So you're just walking across the restaurant, it's just
crunch, crunch, crunch.
It's a carpet of peanut shells.
It's so gross. I don't know. I don't understand why that became a thing.
I think it's fun.
Nah, I mean,
Fun.
it's
They
fun.
clean it up at the end of every day.
It's fun for one moment when you're sitting there and you get to experience the feeling of a child.
Right.
Of like, I'm just going to throw things on the floor.
Right.
But then immediately after, you're like, nah, I'm sitting in that, walking in that, standing in that. It's just not fun for me.
No,
I'm way too much of a cat.
You are.
For that to be enjoyable.
Anybody that had a peanut allergy that walks into a restaurant like that, it would be like the decompression that happens in space. Like throw this bug out.
Let's go to Texas Roadhouse. Are you trying to kill me? So this is just pure. I mean, peanut brittle was really the most accurate nose. I'm having a hard time finding anything else now that that's in my head.
So the peanut brittle, that's going to have some elements of some brown sugar and some honey, but like peanut brittle is going to be the dominant nose there. And I also get like a little bit of a maltiness. I know that that's not a malt.
Well, it is rounded sweet.
It's not a single malt whiskey.
Yeah, I get it.
It's a
but
bourbon.
it has barley in it.
Yeah,
We just don't know how much.
It's really nice and easy, man.
Yeah, that's just drinkable.
Yeah.
It's a little bit bitter.
On the back end, right on the finish. Right on the finish.
Just a little bit. It's a little bit of a...
It is the same time. It is the same time. It took a handful of seconds and then whooping! There.
Yeah, hey, it's a little bitter. I wonder if that's because they proofed it down. I don't know. Who knows?
So it's 40%.
So you know what Missouri is?
It's the show me
They
state.
only ever wear trench coats there.
It's the show me state because of wieners is what he's indicating.
Actually, I have a lot of really good friends in Cape Girardeau.
Right?
And I've played a lot of shows in Missouri.
Mm-hmm. I lived there for like a year.
Springfield, Missouri is a weird place.
Yeah, that's where I lived.
More churches per capita than just about any other city in the nation.
Right? Like,
I mean, you could literally jump from church parking lot to church parking lot if you needed to cross town and the game was the floor is lava, but the church parking lots were safe.
I have an uncle. I have an uncle that lives in Missouri. You know what he is? He's a pastor.
Yeah, of course he is. Of course he is. They're also making amazing barrels.
Okay.
Cooperages,
yeah,
right? A lot of Missouri oak. And Mark Twain National Forest is one of the best motorcycle rides I've ever taken in the Midwest.
Mm-hmm. There's flavors on this that I think would be really nice if they were turned up a little bit. Mm-hmm. They're probably going for, you're going to make some money on this. Fine. But I think if there was like a 50%, maybe a cash strength, I think these flavors could be really nice.
I think it's a well done
if the volume was turned up.
Yeah, it's a well done entry bourbon.
Yeah. No, but the friendliness, it could be more intense with those same flavors. Because some flavors, you'll have them at a relatively low proof and be like, yeah, that's interesting. But if you crank this up, I don't know what would happen. These are all really just nice.
It has none of the flaws of a traditional craft weakness whiskey.
Yeah. Right on.
It's classic bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to go back to the Weller now that it's breathed.
Yeah.
For a little bit.
Yeah, almost like a little bit of a honey and a hay.
Oh, molasses is showing up.
Hay on the taste.
Go back to your Weller.
I'm going back to the Weller now. I'm getting like a hay note on that Missouri. Oh, man, this is so much darker now.
I know.
The comparison is for real. This is molasses is the word. So much more dense and rich and like a savory sweetness.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
From memory only, this might be my favorite Weller.
Ooh.
I mean, it's not that different from the Special Reserve and the 107, but it's good.
So, I'm not getting apple's a common thing. I'm not getting a lot of apple in here. I'm getting, again, that cherry keeps showing up in space.
Molasses and cherries.
And then the molasses showed up for real after we came off the heels of a relatively low proof.
Yeah, and then going back to Missouri, it is very much cut hay.
Yeah. All right, we got the Rana Saad Ali Khan. I was wondering if one could put whiskey in the fridge, and what will the taste change or not?
Fridge or freezer changes two things.
Temperature.
Shockingly enough. And what happens is your taste buds are designed to pick up the most things at room temperature. So when you change hot or cold in either direction, you are burying some things and accelerating some other things on what you taste.
Yeah.
So it will absolutely change the flavor of what you're drinking.
Yeah.
Now, how? Try it. Find out.
You know what? I've been thinking about this over the weekend because we often talk about there's some whiskeys we had and we'll say like, you know what? Summer's coming up. This could probably stand up really well to ice.
I almost only ever pour bourbon on the rocks.
Yeah.
Bourbon stands up to ice so well.
I know, like, I think, what was one off the top of our head? I think Bullet was one.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Stands up,
Just easy. It still tastes like bourbon.
A good budget,
Irish
relatively
disappears.
budget that stands up well enough to ice. I'd be curious to get, like...
Smoky whiskey on the rocks is weird.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It all of, like, the sweet elements that make it interesting.
They disappear.
Yeah, it just becomes like
just
a...
ashy ice water.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. But I'd be interested to get the tribe's favorite bourbons.
On the rocks.
On the rocks.
On the rocks.
Because specifically, there's a certain amount of character and heft that a bourbon needs to have in order for it to be an enjoyable rocks experience. Maybe we do that.
So, what are we going to do for 200,000 subscribers?
Oh, yeah, that's coming up, isn't it? Oh, so... Daniel, you know.
Hey Rex, remember those 100 whiskeys we blended together to give to all the channels?
Yeah.
And the list that we crafted of who we were going to send them to?
We did this as a 100,000 subscriber celebration live stream.
Yeah.
Who did we send that out to?
They're still on my desk.
We haven't sent them out yet.
We've been so busy. I have the list.
Right.
I know who I'm sending it to.
Right.
Just haven't mailed it.
I asked Daniel, I was like, Daniel, do we double down, pour those back into a thing, and then make it a 200 whiskey blend?
No,
he didn't want to do
something
it.
else.
He didn't want to do
something
it.
else.
All right.
Are we still going to send this? It's like, hey, we just want to do on the anniversary of our 100 subscribers. As we hit another 100, we wanted to send you a 100 whiskey blend.
So,
how can I make that make sense?
What should we do to celebrate the 200,000 subscribers that's coming up? Let us know in the comments. Good ideas.
Rex on a stripper pole.
Why would you do such a thing?
I'm just bumping that to the top.
I mean, I'm already booked up on the calendar.
That's true. That's true. And, you know, two more than that, you may pull a muscle.
I barely get to wear clothes as it is. Here's to fighting, stealing, and drinking.
If you fight, may you fight for a friend.
If you steal, may you steal a lover's heart.
And if you drink, may you drink with us.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with us in the Whiskey Vault. Don't forget to throw in a like, hit that subscribe button on the bottom right, and drop a question or comment down below.